Good day everyone, so hope you're doing really well. As a Kokomi mains channel, if you've been watching this channel, you'll know that I've got a very soft spot for Kokomi and Sigewinne, and once again we now have Sigewinne's rerun, and a lot of people are throwing the usual Sigewinne slander out there, telling you that the character is not worth pulling for, that she's got limited teams, and all sorts of nonsense that's got no bearing to reality. And once again, I'll take up the mantle, as I've done a bazillion times in the past, show you that you can consistently beat the hardest content in the game, and then also talk about why beating the hardest content with Sigewinne is really not even the focus of why you should get the character. So let's talk about all of that. Clearly, we've got a new off-fielder here, Mavuika, well, on-off-fielder. That means Sigewinne perfectly works with Mavuika, which is pretty cool. I love the Kokomon team, which is one we've been running on the channel a lot, and since Mavuika's released, we've kind of been chungling forever. We even threw in Atlantis Volcano in one video. Do check that out, it's pretty funny. And effectively, what we can say now is that Sigewinne's got more teammates, she's got more options to play with, and that's what I like about using Sigewinne in a team like this. You've got the healing, stability, and enough Hydro application, because people kind of have this weird feeling that if you don't constantly apply Shingshu levels of Hydro, you're bad, but very often the reaction between Hydro, Electro, and Anemo means that you can often get away with a lot less Hydro than you might think that you need, and you can clearly see that here in the background. But regardless, I think the big problem a lot of people have with Sigewinne is that you can't use her in that many teams. Or should I rather say that all of the top meta teams that clear the abyss as fast as possible don't use her necessarily as a support. That's kind of basically what the argument boils down to, and I think it's one of the shittiest arguments people can make, for a very, very simple reason. A, you're not rewarded for beating the abyss as fast as possible. You are rewarded every 30 days for beating the abyss as consistently as possible. In other words, having a roster of diversified characters that you can use to go through the abyss. And certainly if you can't beat one chamber, you literally just keep on going, you beat the other chambers, get your 3 stars on that chamber, you go back, you swap to your Sigewinne team, and now you can beat the last chamber, or vice versa. It really doesn't matter. And I think that's kind of the point that I've always tried to make, is that there are a lot more varieties and ways in terms of playing these characters than a lot of people would have you think, because they're so focused on having certain archetypes that just focus on beating the abyss in a very controlled environment where everyone starts off with the elemental burst and you press the reset button and you only get 800 primo gems every 30 days. It's so sad if you really think about it, that your pulling advice for getting a character is predicated off of that, whereas someone like myself says, hey, the Overworld gives me 60 times 30 at 1800 primo gems. I have a character like Sigewinne that I can use to do party-wide heals. I can get my elemental burst energy for Hydro units very quickly back with her. She synergizes with a lot of these off-field characters like Fischl, Yai, Nehida with the off-field elemental skill damage, which is a lot more of a comfier way in any case to play in the Overworld. Precisely because the Overworld is not a controlled environment where your Bennett and Xiangling burst are always ready and the enemies are big and they stand close to a circle. No, in the Overworld, your Xiangling Pyronado misses half of the time. You don't always have the energy. So characters that are reliant on elemental skills are just that much more fun to play. And that is what I would argue. And in fact, from a more casual perspective, for people that really are not that strong or au fait with the combat, having the ability to trap enemies is just like super cool. But in any case, that just then talks to preference. It doesn't really talk to compelling reasons to pull or not pull for characters. And I think that is my kind of message here. Sigewinne can work. She can work really well in the Spiral Abyss. I've proven it, and if you look on YouTube, there's a fantastic C0 Sigewinne clearing with Yai and Miko type of video out there as well. It just, again, with a C0 Yai in the current Abyss, there's so many other teams and ways of playing this character. There are Hyperbloom variants, and we've done it with the Nouvellette variants as well in the past. And these are all just different ways for you to make the most out of the character. And if you're like me and you go the full way, Sigewinne becomes just an absolute monster of a main DPS, like a little mini Nouvellette that just destroys everything in an AoE, including enemies behind her, which is really, really cool. But regardless, I mean, this all just once again comes down to, do you like the character, and do you think, or do you believe with a bit of experience, that you can use the character in interesting ways that'll be fulfilling for you and your gameplay experience? And if the answer is yes, and you've looked at the showcases, you've seen what people have had to say, and you want the character, go for it. Otherwise, if you are just someone that wants to get something that's a bit more powerful, or you need something else for your account, you just go and do that instead. But I do think it's kind of weird how people just want to always put down characters, and it's either mid or fantastic, and a lot of the other nuances in between are lost, which is always sad. In any case, we love Sigewinne here, we love Kokomi, and as you can see, she is just so much fun, especially if you've been someone that's watched the channel. I mean, we've gone ham with Sigewinne in so many ways. Alright, that's enough from my side. Thanks for watching.